Welcome to the first ever installment of the DonLion Show, bringing you the top news, media, sports, all the breaking stories. I wanted to start off the show by talking about this Aaron Rodgers situation. Uh, Obviously, the Packers said they're done with him as of right now. I don't blame him for the way he's been acting, the irrational ability, bossing them around at times within the organization. So with what's been going on with the Jets is just he sent them a list, apparently, of a list of guys that they wanted the Jets to get. And it included like Lazard, a washed Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, just like former I think Odell Beckham was on there too, but pretty much like people you would assume would be his guys. And that's already alarming because already Aaron Rodgers is bossing them around. He's already bossing around his team. And I don't know how it's going to work with the Jets, but I mean, there's a report today, as of today, that he announced he wants to play for the Jets. So that was kind of the last thing that, was to be determined here. Green Bay is going to ship him off. They're going to look for, because they thought, hey, he might retire. So he's most likely going to be a Jet. I believe the Jets picked up Aaron Lazard this morning. So at that point, how good's it going to be? I mean, if you really look at it, they have talents like Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Breece Hall, unbelievably great running back. The defense building, I like the coach Robert Saleh. It's gonna be a battle. Rodgers is gonna battle himself this year. I mean, if he can overcome his demeanor and the way he does things and his attitude towards things, there's a shot for sure that they could be contenders. So they could honestly win their division. I know the Bills are there, but we've seen the Bills have been struggling recently. They got a shot, but it's going to be Rodgers versus Rodgers at that point, because for some reason he's gone off the deep end and he's being very irrational. The Randall Cobb and the Odell Beckham stuff, like, I don't like it. I don't like how, you're bringing in these. I get that you want to bring in your team, but we already saw this in Green Bay. I'm telling you, Green Bay's laughing about this. They're like, he's already doing it to the Jets, and he's not even there yet. So we'll see how it goes. And what's kind of crazy about this is when Favre left Green Bay after his years in Green Bay, after he was muling retirement like Aaron Rodgers, what was his first destination? The New York Jets. If you look at the careers of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, unbelievably similar. Similar. Both got one title. Both had unbelievable stats. Everybody thought they were going to be Packers for life. First team after muling retirement, go to the Jets. So I mean, that's where I stand with the Aaron Rodgers thing. I thought this was interesting. Zeke is going to be cut. Pretty much all reports say he's going to be cut by the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, he has that. I believe he was set to enter year 4 of the 2019 $90 million contract. Apparently, they talked with him about reworking the contract. He said no. Does this hurt the Cowboys? No, because I think that at this point in Zeke's career, I don't think he's done by any stretch of the imagination. But obviously, he doesn't have that top-end speed that he used to have out of Ohio State in his first 2 years in the league. He just doesn't have it. I think the biggest position that they could utilize him and any other team could utilize him is in the red zone. I think that's where he thrives right now. He's a bigger back. He's physical. He had 12 touchdowns last year. That was tied for 5th in the NFL. So, I mean, that's pretty solid if you look at that. But I think they're looking at the contract and they're like, why don't we just buy this guy out at this point? If he's not going to rework the deal, we got to free this room up because we could be bringing in better guys. I mean, and it sucks, but another thing that I was looking at, he's only 27 years old, but I feel like we're about 2 years away from his career being over. I don't know where he's going to go at this point. There's options out there for him. He's definitely going to find a team next year. It's sad to see him leave Dallas. But if you look at the success of Pollard and, it looks like that organization is looking for somewhat of a change at this point. So, I mean, I get the move if I'm Dallas. I honestly, I wouldn't have paid him if I were them. But I mean, they paid him. They can't take it back. You got to learn from the mistake. Only $50 million was guaranteed out of the 90. So I think this is going to free up cap space for them, and it's going to make them probably a better team. But I mean, they are going to miss a red zone presence. They're going to have to fill the void there. I assume they're just going to do that in the draft. That's probably the best angle to take that. But I mean, this is a move that someone like Jerry Jones usually doesn't make. So I like the boldness of this move, and maybe it's showing that things are about to change. Who knows? The Bucks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, they lose Brady, and the only quarterback I believe they have on roster is Kyle Trask. Obviously, he's not going to be the guy next year. Obviously. So they're going to bring in Baker Mayfield, and I really don't know how this is going to go. I think I want to say Baker shot. I think that last little run with the Rams was a decent run, but also you have to understand, I think Baker's a good quarterback when everything is going right for him. When you have a good O-line, when you have good weapons, when you have a great coach, he can be a very good quarterback. He can be a very good system quarterback. Can he go into a team and can he elevate players to a postseason? No. He just can't do that. That's not what he is. And there are only like a handful of guys in NFL history that can do that. That can move from a game manager to a game winner. And I mean, Baker, he doesn't have the athleticism, he doesn't have the consistency and the size to do that. On the Bucks, you got good receivers there. You got guys like I believe Leonard Fournette's come back. I know Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are coming back. You got guys there that can definitely compete and that are definitely top end wideouts backs in the league. But I mean, he's had good receivers before and failed. So I don't know. It's a weak division. That's why I think he could have a shot to play it out the whole year without getting benched, and they could maybe make a run at the postseason. But it's just, I don't know with Baker anymore, because you look at those Browns teams that he had. Obviously, that year that they kind of were done with him, he did get injured, and he was trying to play through it. He was trying to be bigger than I get it. I like the grit, but sometimes you got to know when to sit. And I think him not sitting, that cost him a lot of money in this league. But I don't know if he's going to be able to win these big games down the stretch. But I mean, we'll see. Obviously, I think, are the Bucks better with signing him today? Yeah, of course. You can't have a guy like Kyle Trask being your starting quarterback. Baker's the least experienced. He's won a playoff game. It's not a bad move for them. They obviously weren't going to do anything that big in the draft. They have a lower pick. So I don't mind this. They're saving money by doing it too. They didn't have to go out and spend the house on a big quarterback. Baker's not that expensive. So, I mean, they can build around him. And like I said, if the right team is in place and you have, I don't really love their coach, but if you have good coaching and the right team is in place, there's no reason why someone like Baker couldn't take them to the playoffs. And it's the weakest division in football, debatably. So that's why I think the Bucks are definitely better today, but I'm not ready to say that they're a postseason contender with this move. This was a big story out of Georgia. So Georgia had their pro day, I believe, yesterday. And obviously everybody was excited to see Jalen Carter, a guy that was actually slotted as being the number one pick just a month ago. And then he got into the situation with the arrest because of the drag race situation. But he was still high up there in the mock drafts because there was allegations were dropped, all this, all that, right? I wouldn't draft him, but you know what? Teams still interested from what I've heard. And I get it. He's a great talent, but he shows up to his pro day. He refuses to run the 40. He refuses to do the shuttle drill. And he came in overweight. He came in at a staggering 323 pounds. So bad look. If I'm an NFL team, I'm getting red flags everywhere. This is the ultimate red flag already on prospect. Number one, He's gotten arrest situations, allegations before he's even stepped foot in the league, before he's even gotten paid. He already has allegations with the law. Big red flag. Number two, just I don't think he competed in the combine, so not really wanting to show up, kind of demeanor. I get that other players do that, but that's always been kind of a set off for me. That's red flag number two. Red flag number three, he's overweight to what should be the most important day of his life so far, the pro day. Like, if you think about it, for a prospect, this should be one of the most important days of your life. You want to go into your pro day and you want to show these teams why they want to draft you. It's like an interview. It's like a job interview. That's like going into a job interview and not being prepared at all and just like pretty much not answering the questions that they give you, just kind of sitting there mute. That's kind of what this is. And it's as if you're showing up in pajamas to a job interview. And for him to show up that overweight at 323 pounds, guys, the guy's probably he's probably like 22 years old. I don't know the exact age on Jalen Carter. If we're already seeing signs of that, huge red flag. That means he's going to be even more overweight in the NFL if he can't control his weight now. So I wouldn't take this guy in the first round. I would probably, if I'm the GM there, I don't even think I'm taking him in the second round. It's just, I get he's an unbelievable talent, but there comes a point when people that are that talented, if they don't want it, they're not going to get it. It's just what it is at that point. I don't get the whole, pro day situation. I'm going to show up overweight. It doesn't really make sense to me. So, I mean, I'm rooting for the kid. I want him to do good in the league, but this guy shouldn't sniff the first round. He will. Some team will take him, but I'm seeing 3 red flags across the board already on this guy, which I don't like. I don't like that at all. The Lakers, huge game against the New Orleans Pelicans without LeBron. And once again, I think this is 7th or 8th straight missed game. And they came out of the gate swinging. Huge win. I think at one point they had like a near 40-point lead. They were hitting shots. D'Lo was he's kind of become the floor general for that team. AD, just a havoc on both ends. They were playing really well. And I think that if they can find a way to slide into, if they can get, I don't know, with the way they've been playing, I think they've won like 7 of 8 or something like that. They are able to get that 6th seed, how dangerous that team could be. Or if they're able to do the play-in and get like the 7, you have to understand, in the first round, if they're able to get out of the play-in, they're going to be playing Memphis or Sacramento. And LeBron's going to be back. Do you think that the Lakers are going to lose one of those 2 series? Mind you, Memphis might not even have Ja. There's no way. There's no way that they would lose that series of a 7-game series against the Kings or the Grizzlies. There's just no possible way. And that's why I think from what we've been seeing, and I think last night was the culmination of all of it, they're playing great. And they're playing like a team that I think would have been the first seed. If they would have put this team together at the start of the year, probably the number 1 seed. And they're doing all this without LeBron James. Now we're going to have to get to the question of, if bringing LeBron back is going to get in the way of their chemistry. I don't think it will, because he gels really well with good teams. But, I mean, just a question to be asked. But they're playing really great basketball, just above the line basketball. Really showing up every night. That win was huge against that New Orleans team's fighting to get in. Obviously they've been riddled because of the Zion injury and all that. But, good win for the Lakers. I'm seeing positive things from the entire thing. Can they keep the team together next year? Because I don't think they're going to be able to win the title. But like I said, if they get in the right situation, who knows what can happen. So I thought that was really interesting. I wanted to kind of end the segment of the show with we have the NCAA tournament coming up here tomorrow. I believe tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time zone, the March Madness will start. So I kind of wanted to give my Final Four. I have Alabama, the sneaky 5 seed of Duke. I have Houston and UCLA. And I have Houston winning the whole thing. Now, I know what people are thinking. Houston, they just lost that big game to Memphis. I'm thinking they're going to come back with a fire. They've been very consistent, very good all year, so I have Houston winning the national championship. How will that hold up? We'll see. But yeah, that's going to end the segment for today on a Wednesday, March 15th. The plan is to do this show every day. I want to set an exact time for it. Someday maybe do it live, but this is the inaugural episode of Don Lion. Thank you for sticking around. We'll be back.